In Destiny, there exists an extensive endgame that will push the Guardians that have stuck around long enough to the very breaking point, separating those that have toiled and suffered through the Weenie Hut Jr. activities like strikes and Gambit in order to tackle some of the game's more brutal activities that require Guardians that have achieved status, glory, and an adept knowledge of the game's sandbox in an attempt to seek prestige in Destiny's truest of challenges. There are game modes like Trials of Osiris, where players bang knuckles in order to prove who amongst them will be the least likely to ever get a date, or the raids that require a team of 6 Guardians, or 5 crack Guardians and the Ass Monkey on AdClear to descend into a gauntlet of PvE challenges that require all 6 members to cooperate in order to become triumphant over the horrors that lurk within. And finally, there lies the dungeons, in which 3 Guardians descend into the twisted dark machinations of Bungie's mind that aren't the DCV, to gather some of the game's juiciest loot and triumphs. It is here within these dungeons that we find one of the most sacred and prestigious acts a Destiny player can achieve within the game. One that immediately upon completion will instantly put some fucking hair on their chest. That's right, baby. I'm talking about the sacred act of the Solo Flawless, where 1 Guardian descends into the dungeons that were handcrafted to be balanced for 3 brave crayon eaters. God damn it, you beautiful bastards, I salute you. I mean 3 Guardians instead of 1, and complete every encounter within it by themselves, without a single death. But what if it was possible to take that concept even further beyond, and deal what may very well be the final crushing blow to my mental stability, and pose the question, can you solo Flawless Prophecy using only white gear? Now first off, in the gear prep phase, I'd like to say, what the hell I let you people talk me into this shit all the time? Now I thought that the Witch Queen white gear run was tough enough, but this run is one that twisted my dick in ways I never thought possible. The amount of attempts I had during this challenge was absolutely staggering. I'll put the count at the end of this video just to show off the sheer magnitude, the Herculean effort that went into this one. Now personally, I don't like asking anyone to subscribe because I'd feel like an EA executive level of grease lord, but if this colossal ass kicking doesn't warrant it, then it's a terrible day for rain. Which is also one of the reasons why I disappeared from the channel for a while. I was busy getting my titties absolutely twisted in the background. This required the mental fortitude of a saint to get through. I've got live clips of me losing my sanity, I've got expert skill showcased in this, and an emotional roller coaster with twists that you never would have expected. I'll blame Dosey and Ginger for setting me down this path. So to start this off, I gather as much white gear from collections as possible. I equipped the sniper rifle, the Kvostov, a green sword, and my white gear. Now I didn't paint this my usual colors that will immediately make every person within a 100-yard radius sodden. However, don't worry, I don't disrespect my white gear Guardian's legacy with these scrub lord colors for long, and I do return to my peak physical condition a little bit later. While loading in, I try to buy the Rylee Reloaded go-kart. You know, when I paint that bitch with Hot Wheels blue and orange, there'll be no way the darkness can catch me when I'm dancing sick flippies around the witness's ass like it was Mario Kart Monday. And upon loading in, the drifter says,
Do you read? Eris, I got this. Go back to yelling at that tree on Io.
Which brought back painful memories of Zavala popping out of thin air at Mach 8 to turn you into a fucking wet smear on the roots. I then used the ancient old technique of sword swiping up this tunnel and taking advantage of the beginning section cheese, because starting this video off has me at about 12 deaths in from the stream I did on Twitch, and I already determined that this whole dungeon is going to be bending me over and taking me down to Flavortown almost the entire way through it, so anywhere that I can shave off some seconds is good enough for me. After rocketing through the first encounter like a good little jet man that I am, I'm somehow drawn to the conclusion that I should be using stasis in the opening section. My thinking was that I could use the extra crowd control to give myself a moment of breathing room, and it actually worked out pretty well. One thing that I like about these runs is that they're a lesson in self-improvement. One must get their assenholen kicked in order to become better at getting their assenholen kicked. Rylee 2022. But just like before in the Solo Flawless White Gear Pit of Heresy run, it is kinda neat to see everything that I'm doing and the way that I'm slowly developing techniques to make this easier and easier run after run. The first run goes about how you expect, with me not having my loadout properly set up, because this is Rylee Reloaded, where build crafting and intelligent play is for fucking nerds. I then realized that I don't have Bleak Watcher equipped, and in my blunder I am rushed by these enemies and transmogged into an obituary. I then rocket my way back to the arena with dazzling precision and realize that I am not at peak sexy. I return to my armor screen because the real reason I've been dying in this run is because I wasn't properly equipped. And I've done so many white gear challenges at this point that I just know where every single shader I need is my memory. And if Bungie ever puts a blue and orange skin for the Kvostov, I will shit myself with joy. And from my ass, a god wave. I then decided that I'm gonna try out Voidwalker. I was thinking it would give me more of an aggressive playstyle, and oh boy, I was right. As you can see by the monkey monkey mind taking over and me diving my ass headfirst into the enemies that can snap my bones with nothing but a husky sneeze, which is exactly what happens. Alright, here we go again. I use the sword to glide around the room as these enemies have some American sniper aim and will hit you cross-map with their boomer cannons. I basically live in the red in this arena, and every time I go out is nearly a death sentence. Despite that, on this run I managed to survive long enough to put myself into damage phase. I pop off a Nova Bomb, and it deals alright damage, but I can't sustain it because I have no way of healing myself, and the enemy is right in front of me actively trying to ram his fist into my nose, limiting my damage potential. The hardest part is sustaining my life while I'm being swarmed by the nutty amounts of scions that spawn in this dungeon, and the aimbot knights. So every time I have to do additional damage phase, it's another opportunity to slip up that these enemies will absolutely capitalize on. I'm amazed they didn't bust down the fourth wall and stab me in my sleep with how fucking efficient they were. I managed to get the boss to over half health, but I get cocky and make a break for it. Everyone told me, Papa Rye, the Vex can't predict Guardians because we're paracausal. But while they're not the Vex, I'm pretty sure my ass just got predicted. Look at this shit. Now this run is sitting at a nice 54 minutes. With that much time elapsed, you're probably thinking, Rylee must have rolled through this encounter like John Wick and mopped the floor with everything that lies inside. At least made it past the first encounter, right? Right? Well, we all know about the conspiracy theorists we call the Flatlanders that said in my lightless run where my legs folded like a lawn chair on the pipes that you can survive a fall from any height due to the one-shot protection as long as the ground is flat. Well, I'm here to wish you all a very damn you power color kind of day. Brought some fucking bad omens upon me. So the new strategy was to use the Well of Radiance and a sword to deal big damage to the boss during damage phase. Plus I could use the Icarus dash in order to jet away from any danger. Speed is so crucial in this encounter that I can't even understate its importance. I decided I was going to take this run nice and slow, picking off the enemies from a distance and just generally taking my time. I pull off some sick plays by launching myself across the map when things look dicey, and all in all this run goes extremely well. I'm beating the cheeks of my enemies like they owe me money, and all around making some beautiful plays. And I've been fighting for about 50 minutes, and therein lies my goal. The first encounter about to be ended after an hour of skillful plays. Beautiful poetry to finally kick off this legendary encounter run. Phalanx Echo is about to meet death at the hands of the Hot Wheels Kvostov Fury. Every taken in the arena screaming my name as I spell death for those and their kin. I take up a firing position on the top of the pillar and rain hellfire on the scions below. The knights light my position on fire, but I manage to place a well in time and out-heal the damage being burned upon my flesh. But in the heat of the moment, tragedy. My shields break. I know that it's now or never, and if I don't make a mad dash for safety, then my life is gonna be forfeit. I glide across the sky, graceful, beautiful in my escape, and as I go to delicately land, oh come on! Is that not flat enough for you, Destiny? Oh, I'm sorry I misread the fucking laws of true level and landed on your 2-degree. You motherfucker! Almost lost my composure there. A few more runs go by and I'm slowly learning how to make the most out of my damage phases. I know to save my finger snap for when the scions pool in, and how to get the big damage on the boss by dropping a well at their feet, and using a sword to cut the shit out of his ankles. Despite that learning though, my armor still has the stats of an IRL Destiny player, meaning that just the mention of stepping outside is enough to blow apart my internal organs. These runs go well, but I still wind up falling because I've yet to perfect my method, and after many deaths, I find myself at this attempt. I maintain perfect control over the encounter, making smart moves and not taking any risks. It is another slog, but not like the 50 minutes one. I've managed to find a method that allows me to get through this encounter much faster. Now what I'm gonna say is a bit contradictory. I have to be braver, yet somehow at the same time constantly be on the move. You need to blend the perfect balance of offense and defense. I've learned when things are dangerous and have opened my fucking third eye. I can see through the Matrix. I'm basically Destiny Morpheus at this point. I make some just gross plays, and with the boss lying almost dead, I gain my footing and deliver sexy white gear clown shard colored armor justice on Phalanx Echo. I deal the crushing blow and celebrate my victory. It's at this moment that I'm feeling my oats. I feel like I'm a god amongst men. Before I progress, I take a moment to swap my gear around because I remember the wasteland encounter from my first solo flawless attempt with good gear and know what I have to do. I equip Devour to keep up the pain and use a Nova Bomb to launch a big attack on the Minotaurs that lurk around. In the wasteland, I then remember that I have the Hot Wheels Sparrow on, and that's an exotic. And for a white gear only run, I have to be as dog shit as possible. So I return to my inventory to gather the lowest tier of Sparrow that I have. I then race across the dunes at the speed of your average Titan main, changing their loadouts for a raid encounter. I was straight up bullying these blights. Papa Rye comes out slinging as I put all my enemies face down in the dirt with explosive void light. This was the first time I made it this far, so I was taking my time and being extremely cautious as I know that the first encounter, even though I conquered it, is still a taxing challenge that will put me to the test, and I'd really like to not return there. I clear out the last of the blights and race towards the Hexahedron at the adept speed of a Rick Caucus intro. I then equip the green void grenade launcher, not realizing that it has delayed detonations. For heavy impact against the knights. In order to kill them quickly, I should be using the solar one, as every second spent in the Hexahedron is one that has the potential to get my head laser beamed by the hobgoblins above. Mid-combat, I realize that my void grenade launcher is absolute wiener water, and I need to change it to the solar one. I find a safe spot in the room and quickly swap it. I gather the motes, and while I go to dunk them, the hobgoblins and acolytes combine the power of fucking friendship to defeat the god enemy and wipe the floor with my ass. Now, off-screen, there's been a myriad of other deaths. I recorded them all, but fell so many times in the first section that I actually just wound up deleting them to save up on memory space. That's right, your boy is operating off the storage space of a Game Boy. This run is where I decided I'd try something different. I needed a way to sustain my damage during DPS phase by using well, but also giving me the advantage of ad clear and the enemies pelting me in the ass. My solution to that problem was the grenade launcher. While looking, I realized that the grenade launcher has a beautiful effect of having blinding grenades I can use to stun the enemies in the opening section, giving me enough time to reposition or take them out depending on what I need. Before I start my run, I've also developed a new tradition. I jump into this center sphere to start the encounter and slide off. If I accidentally don't slide, it's bad luck, meaning that the run is cursed, dishonor on me, my family, and bloodline. My first attempt with the grenade launcher doesn't go too well as I get too cocky because of it, and I get hit with a Mortal Kombat fatality, vacating my insides from my body. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that this entire time, I've not just been battling with the enemies and encounters, I've also been fighting my controller. It has a dead zone issue where it doesn't register my forward presses on the stick as a full input, meaning that when I press forward at full tilt, I only casually walk instead of do the jog. The only way to remedy it is to click in to sprint. Now, something we don't really think about while we're gaming hard is our means of play. It's amazing how something so minor can completely and utterly shit in your cornflakes. I think it's one of the things that messed me up really good in these encounters, and even though I still wind up dying to this encounter, I did come to the conclusion that the grenade launcher absolutely slapped and 100% needs to be in my loadout for the first encounter. I started this journey cash rich in banners, but once again, because I've been doing this shit for hours at this point, I'm once again returned to D2 poverty. Please, let me return to normal gameplay and gear. I swear I'll never complain about stat rolls again. This armor's got 14 resilience. Please, I'll be good. I then talked to Hawthorne and claimed 30 banners because I'm like a dragon and hoard gold, like the Grease Lord Bungie executive that came up with paid event passes, and seeing my stash of over 8,000 legendary shards go down even a little almost gives me a brain aneurysm. And it was time to once again return to the fight. This time I've given myself a night to recover from the soul-crushing defeats I've suffered over the nights before. I've had my ass beaten in the first encounters for more times than I can count at this point, and I knew I had to give myself a refresher, lest the last few strands of sanity that hold my body together finally unravel. The first encounter goes extremely well, and I managed to clear it in only 23 minutes. That's right, baby, I said only. You think this shit is easy? Nah, just to get through the first encounter on a flawless run where the fucking stars align is about 17 minutes. There is no way around it. You just need to tighten your cabals and initiate that Sigma grind set, or any of the other astrology signs for men. Then it was time to fight through the wasteland. This green sparrow is absolute turd and likely to explode at the mere mention of going slightly faster than walking, but I once again roll in like an angel of death and deliver swift, colorful justice to the enemies lurking within the wasteland. Rylee has become an augur of their demise. It's like a FromSoft game where you see a guy wearing Omega armor that looks like it was crafted from the heart of a dying star and think, I could beat this guy's ass. But God forbid a guy walks in wearing nothing but your mom's G-string because that guy looks like a noob, but he's about to go Ultra Instinct on your ass and teach you that they don't know the meaning of consent. That's me at the moment. In this white gear, I've achieved that guy's status. But this YouTube chuckle nuts is here once again at the Hexahedron, and with my mind refreshed, I'm ready to take on the challenges that lurk within. It's a slow but sure fight to the end. There's a lot of times where things look dicey, but thankfully, the enemies inside die pretty quickly and can refresh my health as I steal their life essence with Devour. The fight goes clear the little enemies, then perform quick snipes at the hobgoblins above to draw out the knights, and then take them out as quickly as possible before the acolytes return. Then try to gather as much speed as possible to get to the moat dunking area by spamming punch because it throws off the snipers on you. Then dunk and repeat until you get to the end. This still requires an immense amount of focus, but with careful playing, it is perfectly doable. I'd say that the Hexahedron is actually way easier than the first encounter. As long as you're consistent, you can overcome the dangers inside. After 5 rotations, the bosses spawn and it's time to lay the boots to me. I used my grenade launcher on the first boss and hit the second with a Nova Bomb, and after about 30 minutes, I beat the Hexahedron using only white gear. At this point, this is the furthest I've gotten in this challenge. This is monumental, as I'm honing my skills like a tempered blade against this dungeon. Slowly but surely, I'm developing into a white gear guardian of epic proportions. I arrive on the Rainbow Road. I take it easy on these side jumping areas, as one time in a solo flawless run before this, before I attempted white gear, I landed perfectly flat and delicately as possible, tapping my jump right before I hit the ground. And for some reason, that was enough to shatter my fucking ankle. I don't know why, but it was such a kick in the nuts at the time making it this far, and having the flat landers once again bust down my door and twist my nipples. make it to the last... That's beside the point. I make it to the last pyramid, taking it slow and steady, and descend into the bottom bit to gather my loot from the box. I'm then given the good suck by the main pyramid. How come you guys don't do that for me? The nerve of some people. For real, on God. And race towards the Kell Echo. I enact war crimes on the thrall that line up to be exploded by the call of the void, and with that, here we are. I take no time as I feel my oats. Now is not the time for pausing as I may lose my momentum. I roll into the boss room and do pretty well. It's actually not that bad with the enemy density to keep my health up with Devour, and with the blinding grenade launcher I can keep my enemies in the dark enough to stop the whole room from erupting into taken fire. I dunk the moats, clear out the ogres, and enter the Kell Echo's arena. I hit him with the Nova Bomb, and while sniping him, something truly terrible happens. I forgot about Dark Entropy. I try to make a run for it, but wind up getting absolutely got. You can see the desperation as I realize, oh shit, I'm about to die. Never have I been more disappointed in myself. Staring at this like, you absolute turd monkey. You were there! You were there! This attempt was about an hour in total, marking yet another hour out of my life that I ain't never gonna get back. Now I die a lot more. Realize that I can use a fusion grenade to help clear the ads and knights in the first encounter, and manage to pass through it at a breakneck pace of 14 minutes. In the wasteland I play defensively and manage to once again ride into the Hexahedron. Here I stand, an augur of demise of all things that stand against all that is white gear. You gather before me, terrified at the power that I wield. You dare oppose me, the one that has risen to the challenge many times. I have fought for the cause. My soldiers don't cower at the fear within them, to show such weakness, to hold such cowardice. My soldiers fight on in the face of certain death. My soldiers, good lord! The hobgoblins taught me the definition of obedience and respect. I actually recorded my reaction to this as it was damn near 3 a.m. in the morning, and I was still attempting this challenge at the time.
Hello, God. It's me, your boy, Rylee Reloaded. As I lay here on the floor on my 45th death, I have died so much today.
Alright, I clear the first encounter, power my way through the wasteland, and once again return to the Hexahedron. I am smart, and with careful playing, I clear it in about 30 minutes. Once again. Ah, the Ribbon Road. It's beautiful after so many deaths. I've once again not recorded a myriad of deaths in between, but just know it was a couple minutes for you, and hours of painful nut-busting for me. Now if you played D2 for a while, you know that launching yourself off the ledge with a sparrow is something that's good to give you a distance in jumping puzzles. You can even jump off halfway down and float through the air and make it to most platforms below relatively easily. Well, normally when this maneuver is performed, it's done on a sparrow that's got the max speed you can get. Well, in my need for speed and rushing, I let the monkey mind get the better of me, and I pulled off this maneuver. I am not proud of this one. After 50 minutes of solid fighting, I did this. God damn it, Rylee, you've gotta be kidding me. Holy shit, I cannot believe I did that. Damn you slow-ass sparrows, you can lick the hairiest parts of my Now previously I talked about my controller dead zone really holding me back, and I didn't think too much of my peripherals for playing because I adhere to the improvise, adapt, come mentality of thinking, and will take with pride whatever shit sandwich life has dealt me, with a smile on my face. But thankfully, the lovely Inertia was kind enough to let me borrow her controller, cranking Rylee up to 11. It was like fucking Rock Lee taking off the weights. With the ability to go forward, I was able to clear the first encounter in record time. 12 minutes was all that I needed. I played like a god amongst men. I mean, I still died in the Hexahedron, but instead of it taking 50 minutes, I made it here in 30. A considerable improvement from the previous runs. Now, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, never have I been kicked in the dick by Bungie more in my entire life. If you're wondering where all the pain comes from in this run, because Paparai, how in the actual nuts could this be worse than the White Gear only Witch Queen run? Well, it's not what you'd expect. First though, watch as I paint this beautiful time-lost LMG to the truest of Hot Wheels colors to really set the stage and soothe your mind. Now, I've spent more of my life on this run than I'd like to admit. It's draining in a way because you have to maintain perfection for hours at a time, and every death deals a crushing blow to your fortitude. Thankfully, with a new controller in hand, and on day 3 of attempting this, I was finally ready to take on the challenges within. I was a nightmare to my foes. I cleared the first encounter in 13 minutes. The wasteland goes by quick with careful playing, and I fight my way through the disorienting halls of the Hexahedron and descend the Ribbon Road with careful precision and finale. reality. And alas, here we are. I rushed Kell with reckless abandon and developed a strategy on the fly. The main name of the game is to sustain yourself. You need to keep your health up, and the way to do that is to clear ads to proc Devour. I quickly gather the first mode and create a safe portion of the room. Then it's just rinse and repeat until you enter the Kell damage phase. One slip up is enough to get you killed, but with careful playing, it is once again not as difficult as the first encounter. Once you enter, throw a grenade and launch a Nova Bomb off to get as much damage in as possible. Then do not overestimate chip damage as you whittle away at Kell with a Kvostov and use your sniper ammo to deal with the hobgoblin shooting at you from the back. Then just rinse and repeat. You really need to take your time in these rooms as one slip will get you splattered all over the fucking diamond. It's about 15 minutes per room. I even figured out that you could swap your sniper rifle to the blinding grenade launcher when the Kell retreats, and most of the time you will usually have ammo enough for it afterwards. Now you're probably thinking, how the hell did this glorious run unravel when you figured everything out, Paparai? Please tell me. Well, sit your ass down, I'm about to give you the news. Just look at this shit. In the middle of fighting, I get one of the worst messages, besides your batteries and your controller dying for a run like this. One of the worst ones you could ever think to get. No! Now at this moment, I am clenching my asshole as tight as a fucking vice grip, just hoping that it pops me back in. Put me in the ring, Chief. Put me in the ring, please. And then it happens. God damn your netcode. Held together with Elmer's glue and fucking rubber bands, Bungie. The server gods descended from their throne on Olympus to say, son of a bitch, he's doing it. Let's kick him in the throat. It hurts so fucking bad. It's just when it can't get any worse. When I go to reload into the game, my will is yet further broken by this happening. Destiny 2 is at capacity at 3 in the morning. I'm on North American time. You're telling me the Australians woke up and took over the fucking servers? Okay. Now at this point, so much has gone into this challenge. There's huge time gaps in between parts where I'm talking that you don't see. That part where I got disconnected was almost 10 runs from this one here. Through all of my pain and grief through this, there's one thing that has remained constant. It's that each little improvement that I've made has solidified in my mind that this was possible, that I could do this, and put the pieces together. When faced with adversity, it often feels like the best thing to do is turn and run away to something that is safer, something that is easier. But in doing so, things remain stagnant, and to me it's better to know the outcome rather than to think about the regret of never trying what I thought impossible. This challenge contains something beautiful, the right of proving oneself against the things they didn't know they could. This applies to both in the game and out. It's only when you realize your limits and actively work towards surpassing them that you improve yourself. But it doesn't happen all at once. It happens incrementally over time until you slowly but surely become better than you ever thought you could be. Everyday things become a little easier, even if you're not good at something. But that's not the hard part. It's getting up every day to do it. That's the hard part. And with that in mind, I clear the first encounter in a record-breaking 12 minutes, despite the fact that it was a bad luck run, as I did not slide off the sphere and slipped right off. I race across the wasteland and am tempered steel against the Hexahedron. It stands no chance against the death that I bring. And slowly but surely, I descend the Ribbon Road in an impressive 36 minutes in, despite everything this challenge has thrown at me, and how much I've had to adapt. Here I stand, proof of what I thought impossible, made possible. Confident in what dangers lie ahead. Confident in my abilities, that the dangers ahead pose no threat to me. In Kell's room, I fight like a demon at every opportunity. I've learned to switch my grenade launcher to the sniper rifle for the Kell during DPS phase, and to properly sustain myself during the moat phase. I've memorized enemy spawns, the places to recover, and how to make the most out of my arsenal and abilities. The damage is acceptable, and slowly but surely, I whittle down the Dark Prince. Kell, you stand against one of the nuttiest warriors of the last city. The multicolors of my jacket are here as a member of the Corps, the augur of your demise. Can you tell I've been watching a lot of Demon Slayer? I don't even watch too much anime, but that shit's wild. And with a solid hour of fighting in the boss room, I dig my heels in to perform the final stand against the Kell. And with white gear, the Kvostov in hand, I put my bullets to the question, finally answer the nature of the light and dark. Through holy Kvostov fury, and as Kell dies, I celebrate, and at 1 hour and 55 minutes in, I solo flawless prophecy with nothing but white gear. Oh yeah, baby! Now this was an absolutely legendary run that I am so glad to have done. It really feels like I climbed a mountain. Thank you everyone who was patient with me while I curb stomped my teeth into the pavement for almost 12 days at this point. The total amount of runs this took was a solid 60. Here's Howie's obligatory screen recording of how many attempts that I took. Funnily enough, Cozy from the Discord put this AI-generated image with the prompt saying, Rylee Reloaded after solo flawless prophecy with only white gear, which looks way more badass than this ass clown. But of course, Blurred then took it and added my face and a Kvostov to it. It looks like Walmart Jesus is back, but salvation? No. Vengeance. Here's the dungeon report to prove that I actually did this, and if that wasn't proof enough, there is a link below in the description to an unlisted video that has the entire run from start to finish, but it doesn't have commentary, just for validation's sake. And lastly, I want to take a second to thank my patrons who've been extremely patiently supporting me while I cook up these gargantuan videos. You guys are honestly cracked for doing this. Now, I have to do the obligatory, take your damn money back, we in a recession. But sincerely, you have helped me immensely, and I want to thank you personally. Huge thanks to Amen Smith. I'll change it every month. Ah, you bastard. Lamotion. Riley Sheldon, whose name is spelt incorrectly. J Lack. Shoo-wabba-labba. Great name. Della Serena. Azure Knight. Lone Ranger 2412. Stakes 86 have never been higher. Tekka Sovan. Link. Dank Devastation. Lightless Purveyor. Zerx 14A. Max Copeland. Nadian Syrup. X9, 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 X9. Ben Stanfill. Hecate. XD 7228. Kari Simpson. Caleb Warman. Kevin Noda. Fish. Banmi. Edensgate. Your boy Gamerweenus. Nathan Dasiak. Valkeen the Delegator. Thrumund. Dragon, take your damn money back. Jacob Dagrapont. Kefnet the Useless. Nathaniel Farmer. CO Camo 3. Arson is Cringe. Crimbo the Undying. Madeline Celestia. Bogos Binted. Super Steven the very same. Mondo 117. James Escalante. Omega Null. Samarchi Deskhopper. Nand. Xavier Human. And Fufu Akio. You guys have helped me out a ton, and I cannot thank you enough for everything that you've done. But with all that out of the way, I'm gonna try my best to be streaming on Twitch for the next week, at Rylee Reloaded on Twitch. I'll see you all in the next thing I pull out of my ass to torment myself with. Hopefully lightless. Wink wink. I've been Rylee, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.